Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this first A-Level Sociology revision blast, one of our live lessons for Year 12 and Year 13 students as they're doing remote learning. Joining with me today is Duncan Hall, our Head of Sociology. We were going to be having Craig Gelling with us,
Hi.
but Craig's not so well at the minute, so it's Duncan, it's over to you for this session. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks, Jim. Okay, we've got lots of activities coming up, range of activities, some MCQs, some other activities coming up. So plenty to come.
How do you want our guests to use the chat window, Duncan? Also, we'll be working through the activities on the screen there, but is it how do you want this to work?
Absolutely. So there'll be most of the questions. They'll be like A, B, C, or D. If you can just type those into the chat window, that'll give us a good idea of how you're doing and whether you know the answers. Some of the questions there might be a different approach, but if you can just put your answers in there, suggestions in there, that'd be great. And I can see those suggestions as well, so I'll respond to your points. If you've
Oh,
got any
cool.
questions as well that you want to ask, put them in the
So you can see the chat window,
chat
Duncan.
window
That's
too.
great. Okay, so let's
Yeah,
make a start then.
absolutely. Yeah, let's get cracking. Okay, so here we go. Some multiple choice questions just to start with. See how you do with this one. We'll start with quite a challenging one. Get the brains working. Pierre Bourdieu's idea of habitus is most closely associated with the concept of what? What do you reckon? A, B, C, or D? Type them into the chat window. Let's see what you think. Seen a couple of answers starting to come through. I'll give you a minute or two just to stick some answers in. Oh, suddenly a load of them. Okay, lots of them there. Lots of you getting the right answer, which is B, cultural capital. Well done. Those few going for A, which cultural deprivation. I can see why you wouldn't. It's quite a useful thing to think about the difference between cultural deprivation and cultural capital, or lack of cultural capital. That's something to have a think about, because that can give you some really good analysis and evaluation if you can distinguish between those two quite superficially similar concepts. Okay, let's have a look at the next question then. So, the achievement gap between those who are eligible for free school meals and those who are not is consistently around, is it less than 5%? Is it 10 to 20%, 25 to 30%, or between 5 and 10%? What do we reckon? Let's see some answers coming through now. Approximately. So, this is at GCSE. How much do people who are not eligible for free school meals, so that tends to be people who are from better off households, how much higher grades, higher achievement do they get than people who are eligible for them? So it's social class and differential achievement. We've got some answers in the chat window. I think I've got to press a little button there. Sorry. Oh, yes, there are lots of them there. And lots of you going for C, a few for B. Shall we have a look? What's the answer? It is C. Lots of you getting the right answer there. Well done. It's useful having the most up-to-date statistics. For social class, it's stubbornly consistent, really, over a long period of time. But some of the other social groups that you might look at in terms of gender and ethnicity, you might find that textbooks published a few years ago, the statistics might not be up to date. Those do change from time to time, so it's worth keeping an eye on that. Okay, let's have a look at the next question. Okay, which of the following researchers into education did not focus on the issue of social class? Okay, so is it Sugarman, Willis, Barretter and Engelman, or Bernstein? So one of those who did not look at social class. Okay, got a mixture of answers coming through. Load came through all at once there, which is very impressive. And most of you going for C, which is correct. They looked at ethnicity, rather outdated study now from the 60s about ethnicity. The others were all about social class. And that's something to bear in mind when you're thinking about studies. People might use Bernstein and language codes when they're talking about ethnicity. Barrett and Engelman's a similar sort of idea, but about ethnicity, although, as I say, it is rather an outdated one now. Okay, let's have a look at the next question. Which of these sociologists specifically researched the impact of setting and streaming on educational achievement? Okay, so they all may have looked at related areas, but which one specifically looked at setting and streaming? What do we reckon? Got a mixture coming in here. A few different ideas. Oh, there are a lot coming all at once there, but quite a breadth of possible answers there. Shall we have a look at what the answer is? It is Stephen Ball. So I can certainly see how the others might relate to it. Quite a few people going for E there. There wasn't an E option, but hedging your bets there with E. So Stephen Ball specifically looked at streaming. Clearly, labeling and self-fulfilling prophecy and things might well relate to streaming, and so you might well talk about Becker or Rosenthal and Jacobson if you were writing something about setting in streaming. But it's great if you can use someone who specifically did research into that. Okay, last MCQ before we move on to a different task. Which of the following is most commonly used to measure social class in relation to educational achievement? So it's very hard to measure social class in relation to educational achievement. Which is the measure that's most commonly used in educational research? We've had a bit of a hint at this earlier on, actually. Lots of people giving some answers here. Lots coming through, and most of them right. It is D, eligibility for school meals. Some of the others could be used, couldn't they, like household income, home postcode. But when you look at the statistics, the official statistics on educational achievement, they tend to go based on whether people are eligible for free school meals or not, because that data is collected by the government. Okay, so we're going to move on to a different type of activity now. It's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In a moment, 5 questions are going to come on the screen, and you'll have 2 minutes to answer them. It'll ask you for 5 of something, 4 of something, 3 of something, 2 of something, and 1 of something. If you can just put whichever answers come to mind into the chat window, so as they come up, just put as many or as few of them as you want in there, and I'll pick up on some of what you said, and we'll have a look at some of the answers. Okay, here we go. There is some music.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, put them in the chat. I've seen a question there. Do we put them in the chat? Yeah, if you've got any answers for it, pop them in the chat. So if someone's asked, what's the question? So 5 sociologists associated with ethnic differences in achievement or differences by ethnicity. 4 sociological concepts influencing those differences. 3 in-school factors, 2 out-of-school factors. And then the last one, quite complicated. Can you think of a way that an in-school factor influences an out-of-school factor, or an example of a factor that's the two might be linked together? Oh, some really good answers coming through.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, saw some excellent answers coming through on the chat window there. Really good stuff. So shall we have a look at the first one there? So you did come up with lots of others, but I saw lots of these ones there, but plus other really good suggestions. We've got Cord, Mercer, Gilbourne, Sewell, Archer, but I saw some other really good options in there. Well done. Okay, so well done with that. Let's have a look at the 4 concepts, and I saw some really good concepts there. Institutional racism, and I saw some related to that as well in relation to sort of the resources and things like that. Ethnocentric curriculum, teachers' racialized expectations, or teacher racism as well, subcultural responses. So lots of Lots of good responses in there. Lots of people have written some really, really good answers. Well done. Let's have a look at the 3 in-school factors that might be associated with differences in ethnicity. So we've got ethnocentrism, which I think we saw. People's responses, so the people response to perhaps to racism or things like that, and then racism within peer groups. Okay, some really good ones. Someone's mentioned, is parental involvement right for 4? So is that for the 4 factors? The sociological concepts that influence differences in ethnic achievement. It could be, yeah. So there are lots of other things we could have mentioned there, and I think some people want material deprivation as well, which, as long as you make the link to ethnicity, because on the face of it it's a social class point, you need to make that link. Similarly, there's some good research about parental involvement, so as long as you can back it up with some research, yeah, that could be a good answer there. Sorry, and then back to the 3. Yeah, so we saw lots of good responses there. And then we've got our 2 out of school factors influencing ethnic achievement. We've got racism in wider society, cultural differences. I saw some other good suggestions up there. People talking about possibly subcultures outside school. People talking about language differences. Again, you need to link with, make that link and back it up with some research. Someone's asked about Macan Gale. Could have used Macan Gale in the first one. Yeah, he did some relevant research about ethnicity and education. Okay, let's look at the last one. And I saw some good responses there. Teacher labelling, people mentioned that earlier. And it's an in-school factor because it's been done by teachers, but it's influenced by out-of-school factors. Who is being labelled? Why are they being labelled? That's to do with things that are happening outside school. And that's a really good point, and it gets you some good analysis marks if you can remember that most in-school factors or out-of-school factors actually, they're not one or the other. They do impact each other. You take something like language codes. People kind of learn their language codes out of school, but the impact on education happens in school. So if you can make that link, that's always that always pleases examiners or teachers when they see that and they're assessing you. Okay, let's have a look at the next activity. Now, this is what we call a connection wall. Now, a few of you may have seen a program called Only Connect on the telly, where you have these sorts of things, a connection wall. You might have seen something similar at school as well. What it is there are 4 groups of key terms or phrases there, and the idea is to try and group them together. I'll give you 30 seconds, a minute to see whether you can come up with any patterns or links, and then I'll give you a few clues to sort of get us going, because it is quite tricky. But have a look at it first and see if you can see any that you feel probably ought to go together. What do you reckon? Write it in the box. What do we think? Any thoughts? Okay, I've got someone put SATs, BTECs, MVQs, and T levels. They're saying there might be types of exams. Might be more specific than that, but it's good. Someone's put compensatory education. That would certainly be sure start, but what would you link that one with? There might be there. Marketization, someone's put it. League tables, national curriculum. Let's perhaps go with that one to start with. So could you put 4 together that are specifically to do with the Education Reform Act of 1988? Which certainly links with the marketization that people are saying there. Can you put 4 together for that? 1988 Education Reform Act, league tables, national curriculum, formula funding. Sophia has nearly got there. Just need to change one of them. Lots of people getting very close to it. Got formula funding, national testing. Someone say, are we supposed to know what we're doing? We're trying to put these phrases into 4 groups of 4, and I've given you a clue that one of those groups is the 1988 Education Reform Act. So you need to put 4 things that relate to that. Few people getting very close. League tables, national curriculum. Shall we have a look at what the 4 for Education Reform Act? So yeah, league tables, national curriculum, formula funding, and SATs. I think we saw a lot of people getting very close to that. But I didn't think I saw exactly the 4. I've seen one there. Okay, shall we see if we can get any more links then? Now you know what you're doing. Can you come up with another group of 4 from the remaining terms? Okay, what do you think? Some people put together T-levels, VGCSEs, BTECs, and MVQs. So you might want to think what that one was. I can't remember if that's the next one that comes up on the screen or not. It would be good if it was. But some people were putting those together. What do you think it was? What else have we got? Someone's put New Labour. Olivia's put New Labour. So what would you think are the 4 that would link to that? Oh, Finley said vocational courses for the SATs, for the BTECs, T-levels, MVQs, VGCSEs. That sounds like a good option. Vocational courses. Someone's put pupil premium, free schools, education maintenance allowance, and Sure Start. That's very nearly a group. Academy, Sure Start, EMAs, their New Labour policies. Is there one else we could add there that's a New Labour policy? Let's have a look at the next group of 4. What have we got? Okay, educational maintenance allowance, specialist schools, city academies, and Sure Start were the New Labour policy. So a lot of people getting very close to that, picking up a lot of those. Well done. Okay, so got a lot of them there. What do we think now? We've got 2 groups of 4 left. We know actually that it's T-levels, VGCSEs, MVQs, and BTECs is one group. So the other is curriculum reform, free schools, pupil premium, and linear GCSEs and A-levels. What do we think the links are? Any others? Any suggestions what the links could be? So someone put vocational qualifications for T-levels, VGCSEs, BTECs, and MVQs. I think that's going to be the right one. Now someone's put linear GCSEs, curriculum reform, pupil premium, free school, conservative. And someone else put coalition government. Very good. We've got some coalition policies, question marks. So some people are getting those. Let's have a look then at the last 2 groups. So curriculum reform, free schools, pupil premium, linear GCSEs, and A-levels. They are coalition government policies. And if you put policy since 2010, that would have been fine as well. And then the last group is vocational qualifications, which someone got nice and early on. So well done. Some very good responses there. Excellent stuff. Okay, shall we have a look at the next activity? It's what we call the bubble quiz. So this one, it's another multiple choice quiz, but this time there might be 1 right answer, there might be 2, 3, or 4 right answers. So before you see it, it could be none. There might be none of the answers might be right, or all of them could be, or all points in between. Let's have a look and see what we mean. Let's have a look. Okay, so which of these sociologists are Marxists? So just pick the ones that are, if any of them are. Could be none of them, could be all of them, could be any points in between. What do we reckon? Who's a Marxist? Got any answers? I reckon I'm going to get a sudden rush of them. All right. Yeah, getting lots of B, B, C. We're saying 2 of them, which is right. Yeah, B, C, B, and C. Let's have a look. Well done. Very good. B and C. Marxist. Occasionally you get people mistaking Howard Becker for a Marxist. It's obviously an interactionist, but because he talks about social class, sometimes people sort of mix him up with the Marxists. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. According to Parsons, which of these are functions of education? Again, it could be none of them, it could be all of them, it could be somewhere in between. Any thoughts? Okay, I've seen people going for A and C. A and C. Okay, let's have a look. I think most of you are getting this one right. It is A and C. Yeah, so Parsons thinks that education is useful for role allocation, for sifting and sorting people into their roles in future society, and also secondary socialization, that kind of bridge between home and society. Few people went for primary socialization, which obviously Parsons thinks the family performs that function rather than education. And then reproduction of social class inequalities would be a Marxist perspective. Okay, very good. Let's have a look at another one. Which of these factors that can impact educational achievement could be considered out of school factors? Okay, and I'm going to sort of emphasis could be. Someone's put Davison Moore for role allocation. Absolutely, Davison Moore talks about meritocracy and role allocation, but Parsons talks about it as well. So you, Davison Moore specifically in terms of how a system of unequal rewards can lead to meritocratic outcomes, but they both saw that as a role of education. Okay, which of these factors could be considered out of school factors? Could be all of them, could be none of them. What do we reckon? I'm seeing lots of A, C, D, B and D, A, C, D, A, B, C and D. Quite a few of you starting to go for all of them. Shall we have a look? Yeah, I've gone for all of them. Language codes and subcultures could be in-school factors, because we could be talking about pupil subcultures, anti-school subcultures, pro-school subcultures, and language codes could be in school or out of school. But we've gone for could be, because we could be talking about subcultures outside school as well, like being involved in a gang or something like that. Okay, the last of the bubble quiz questions. Which of these social groups perform above average at GCSE level according to official statistics? Okay. So can you pick any of those groups that perform above average at GCSE? Lots of people going for B and C. Some going for all. See lots of B and C's. Shall we have a look? It is B and C, so well done. Those of you got that, excellent. And indeed, Chinese boys and Indian girls perform above average as well. Okay, so we've got one more quiz type to go. Now this one is called a red herring quiz. So here you're looking for the odd one out, and also why it's the odd one out. So there's a lot to think about here. Okay, so you're looking for the odd one out, and why is it the odd one out? Okay, so here are our terms and categories. Which one do you think is the odd one out, and why? I'm going to give you a sort of heads up that all of these questions are relating to differential educational achievement by social groups. That just to help you out with there. Which one do we think might be the odd one out? We've got D's, we've got A's, we've got B's. Anyone want to suggest a reason? I've seen peer group responses because it's internal. A because it's external. Got B's and A's. Shall we have a look? What? Rise of feminism. All the others are reasons for boys' underachievement, whereas rise of feminism would be more of a reason for girls' overachievement, if you like, or improved achievement. There are some very good other suggestions there, but all the others could be given as, or have been suggested as, reasons for why boys might underachieve in education. Okay, shall we look at the next one? Now you've got an idea of the... Okay, so which four of these is the odd one out and why? I have someone asking there, does the rise of feminism not put the boys out of place? I can see what you mean. I can see what you mean. So you could make that argument, couldn't you? Okay. Lots of suggestions coming through here. I'm seeing A, B, C's and D's. I'm not seeing many suggestions why. Let's just see if I can spot a few reasons why students choose certain subjects. Shall we have a look? GCSE and coursework, they're factors affecting gender identity. Okay. Okay, we see that, how that might be related. Okay, next one. Employment legislation, feminisation of the workforce, gender socialisation and feminisation of education. I reckon I'm going to see some good answers to this one. And the idea of the odd one out here, I've seen a few suggestions. I've seen at least 2 right answers, 3 right answers, but why? Feminisation of education as it's internal, someone suggested there. Okay, shall we have a look? Absolutely. So someone got that right. Absolutely. They were out of school factors influencing girls' achievement, all except for the feminisation of education, which would be an internal factor. I've seen a few people get that. Very well done. Okay. Next one. Okay, which of the 4 is the odd one out and why? Okay, we've got Willis, Ward, Fuller and Epstein. We're nearly done now. Someone's asking how long is it? It's a 30-minute thing, so we're getting very close to the end now. Okay, any suggestions? I'm seeing A's, D's, B's. Any suggestions for why? Shall we have a look? It is Fuller, because all the others did research into boys' subcultural responses and Fuller looked at girls. Okay. But very good. Well done. And another one. What we got for the odd one out on this one? McRobbie, Francis, Mitsossen Brown and Archer. Don't worry if you're getting struggling with some of these. It's quite hard to spot the odd one out because obviously you've got to make what the connection is as well. So it's kind of a combination of the connection wall and a multiple choice question, isn't it? Someone's on first C because there are 2 of them. That is a legitimate answer there. But there might be another reason. Okay. Lots of suggestions there. Not many reasons given for them, but shall we have a look? It is McRobbie. They've all done research into the impact of in-school factors on girls' achievement, apart from McRobbie, who looked at an external factors, bedroom culture. A couple of people asking who is McRobbie, so that's a good opportunity to go and have a look at her research and see how that might link to girls' achievement. Okay. And yes, there are some resources to learn which sociologists are linked to what topic or study. Someone's asking there. There's lots of really good videos and all this on the Tutor2U site or on YouTube, which you can read through. And there's lots of things. And yes, someone mentioning that Robbie studied magazines. She did. Yeah, she looked at girls magazines aimed at schoolgirls and teenage girls. Okay. So what I would really like now is if anyone could type into the board what you would like to do next. If we do another one of these, perhaps in a week's time. What topic, what area of sociology would you like us to do? Okay.
Yeah, really useful that, Duncan, if we could just get some ideas, because obviously there's a bunch of units and topics that we could do next. And it sounds like we're going to be around remote learning until the 8th of March. So a chance to catch up on some of the topics before we get back into school.
Absolutely.
Just whilst we're doing that, Duncan, huge thanks. That was a really good session. We managed to get through lots of topics there and lots of content in 30 minutes. great responses on the chat window. If you get a chance before you sign off, don't forget to click the thumbs up button to like the video. That way Duncan gets a massive bonus. And also to make sure you get an alert the next time an A-Level Sociology session is scheduled, please make sure you click the bell icon and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll get an alert as soon as the next session is lined up, based around the choices that you're putting here in the chat window. Of course, Duncan, we can do education again, can't we? Because there's lots of
we can.
Lots
there's
of
loads. There's a lot
subtopics
more
within there.
education. Yeah, we can do more education. See a lot of people saying family, seeing some for research methods, which is one I thought we might do. So lots of suggestions there. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, we can do that. And also next time we'll make sure that Craig is able to join us. Hopefully he's going to be feeling better, and Katie and the rest of the team as well, Duncan. So we'll have an amazing effort to get through the whole session on your own, but we'll have a team to help you out next time.
Great stuff. All right.
Yeah. Well, look. Thanks everyone. Thanks Duncan. Fantastic. Thanks very much for everyone tuning in live. Don't forget to share this link to your friends if they've not had the chance to join us live. There'll be a recording on this link very shortly. I think YouTube takes a couple of minutes to get that sorted out. But once again, thanks for joining in, and have a happy day and continue with your studies. Thanks very much.
Bye. Thank you.